Good afternoon, everybody. Live from the third largest city in the United States of America, Chicago, Illinois. This is The Drive with Mario Smith. I'm Mario Smith. Thank you so much for joining us today here on Backchannel.tv. Lots to talk about. We will welcome in Eileen Dordek in a little bit to talk about Roe v. Wade and reproductive justice and things of that nature. It should be a very, very good conversation with her. And we are definitely going to talk about Dave Chappelle today. You can't run up on people when they're on stage anymore. That ship has sailed. That man's arm was mangled by apparently Dave, Busta Rhymes, Jamie Foxx, and a whole lot of people got that guy. And we'll talk about him in the headlines in a second. But yeah, you got to stop doing that. Let's go out to Beaverton, Oregon, and say hello to my man Jay Gliss. He's super producer, and he makes sure this show is good. Jay Gliss, good afternoon, sir. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
What's up, man?
We did not discuss this.
I know that's true. We
did not discuss this. That is not a lie. We did
and
not.
I didn't even think about it like when you were talking until I just popped on screen. I didn't.
This has happened 3 different times. We did not have a discussion. I have on long sleeves.
That's right. I usually have on long sleeves. But.
All right. We did not have this. Just so everybody knows, I'm not making this up. We did not talk about this. But that's just because we're on the same page.
That's right.
So did you see the gentleman whose arm was going in a direction the human arm doesn't go in?
Yeah, I don't think it's supposed to do that.
It is not. My friend, a DJ here in Chicago by the name of Steve Miggity Maestro, I had said that his arm looked like one of those wavy things in front of the car dealership.
Oh, yeah.
And my friend Steve Maestro goes, no, it looked like a coffee mug handle. And I have been laughing at that in my head all day. And I saw it very early this morning. It is still funny to me. That is, I mean, I wish we could devote more time. We will in the entertainment section, for sure.
Yeah.
But the idea that people think that they can run up on a stage, I knew it. I knew this was going to happen. I'm on stages all the time, man. I got a mic in my hand all the time. And I've always been like, man, I say the wrong thing. I wonder if somebody would try to come up. And now I know they're going to try it. So now we all have to take these security precautions, and I know a bunch of goons. I hope none of my goon friends have to be hired out to be security. But that is just another example. Will Smith started something. He gave people gravitas to be stupid. And now this dummy who's 23 is in all kinds of trouble. He bought a ticket to get beat up.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? That's so dumb. He bought a ticket to get beat up. We've got Eileen Dordek on today to talk about reproductive justice. I just recorded my podcast randomly selected, where that was the topic of conversation. The Roe v. Wade, the unbelievable amount of doubt and disappointment and all those things. So we'll be able to talk to her and have that be part of the conversation today. We're going to talk about your best friend, Dusty Baker. I'm sure you're very happy to hear he got his 2000th win.
I loved Dusty when he was in San Francisco.
Dusty was all right, man. Dusty was all right. He was all right. He was one of my favorite players when I was a little kid with the Dodgers. So
I think the thing about him that I think is hilarious, like he takes the managers wearing a player's uniform thing to like the ultimate. Like he has the wristbands. He's ready to go out there and play if needed.
He's 76 years old, 74 years old, something like that. He's ready to go. Yeah. I believe Dusty could get a base hit still.
It's pretty funny. Yeah, he's a good manager though. He's been, I think he's one of those people. A lot of people respect him, and he's kind of been around though. It's like, so a lot of fan bases have had love for him, and then maybe felt, like, oh man, like, he didn't get us where we wanted to go. But he's coached some or managed some really good teams. The only World Series game I've ever been to was Game 5 of the 2002 World Series, and he was the manager of that team. Those Giants teams that all hated each other with
that was weird.
with Jeff Kent and Barry
Bonds always trying to not fight each other.
Roided up, threatening each other constantly, but then going out and hitting back-to-back home runs. Like, that was a weird team right there.
Super weird dynamic, but the right person to manage that kind of team is Dusty Baker. And it was the same thing with the Cubs here. And again, I'm absolutely not a Cub fan, but that team didn't like each other either. And he just was like, yo, look, this is what we're going to do. We're winning. And he couldn't finish. And he won't ever win. I think as a manager, he'll never win one.
He's one of those guys who gets to the doorstep time and time again, but can't seem to get over the hump.
Can't get over that hump. Let's say hi to our folks in the back channel chat. What's up, Cloudy Mouse? Cloudy Mouse likes us so much. Cloudy Mouse joined the stream 3 different times. JD Washington and Skirt here in Illinois. Hey everybody, how you doing? Thanks to the folks who are watching on YouTube and listening to us on the Echo Speaker as well. You can catch all the action here on Back Channel beginning at 6 a.m. Eastern with Haley and Allison's Good Morning, followed by Live Every Day with Liv Harrison, and then Jam and Renee. I'm sorry, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Live Every Day is supplanted by Kate and Will on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 a.m. And then it's Get On Up with Jam and Renee at 10 a.m. The Anthony Davis Show with Sir Anthony Davis at noon Eastern Time, except for Wednesdays when it's Word of the Day, like it was today at noon. And then your pal Hal, who was on fire today. Excellent show. I don't know if any of you guys saw it. He talked about the Doctor Strange movie, and he dressed up as Doctor Strange in New York a few years back and videotaped it, and it's brilliant. It's absolutely one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time. And then it's us at 4 p.m. And I just want to let you know that you're here live with us on backchannel.tv. This is The Drive with Mario Smith. And it's the Back Channel, not this show. But Back Channel is the only place on your Echo device that you can watch and listen to live shows and chat with the hosts in real time. We are every Monday through Wednesday and Friday, beginning at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you're asking, how do I get involved with the show? Well, this is what you have to do. You, on your Echo show or on your Fire TV, you go into it, open it up by saying whatever rhymes with T-Rexa, the name of your device, and then you start the conversation and get in and chat with us. If you're listening to us on an Echo speaker, you can go to backchannel.tv, and then you can just click in on the chat and then be part of that. And it's really cool. That's BACKCHANNEL.TV. And we welcome everybody that is here on the drive this afternoon. Let's take a look at the headlines. The company behind the TurboTax tax filing program will pay $141 million to customers across the United States who are deceived by misleading promises of free tax filing services. New York's Attorney General announced that earlier today. Under the terms of a settlement signed by the Attorneys General of all 50 states, Mountain View, California-based Intuit will suspend TurboTax's free ad campaign, which I actually like, and pay restitution to nearly 44 million taxpayers, New York Attorney General Letitia James said. James said her investigation into Intuit was sparked by a 2019 ProPublica report that found the company was using deceptive tactics to steer low-income tax filers away from the federally supported free services for which they qualified and toward its own commercial products instead. We talked about this a moment ago. Los Angeles police have arrested the man who attacked comedian Dave Chappelle on stage during the Netflix is a Joke festival. 23-year-old Isaiah Lee was charged with assault with a deadly weapon after the LAPD alleged he jumped on stage at the Hollywood Bowl, pointed a replica handgun with a knife blade attached, and tackled Chappelle. Police are still investigating a possible motive. The attack was videotaped by audience members who snuck cell phones to the venue. Witnesses say during his stand-up performance, the comedian had spoken about the recent Oscars incident in which Best Actor winner Will Smith slapped presenter Chris Rock over a joke about Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith's hair. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences investigated the incident and banned Smith from all its events virtually or in person for 10 years. And the caveat of this is Chris Rock was there. And after it had all happened, he walked up, grabbed the mic from Dave, and said, "Was that Will Smith?" Chef's kiss. And finally, the shirt worn by Diego Maradona when he scored the controversial Hand of God goal against England in the 1986 World Cup has sold for £7.1 million or $9.3 million, the highest price ever paid at auction for a piece of sports memorabilia. Auctioneer Sotheby's said the shirt was sold in an online auction that closed today. It did not identify the buyer. And those are the headlines at the top of the hour. We will start off our Around the World segment, and then we will interview and have a chance to talk to Eileen Dordek. That's all happening today on the show. It's news. No, it's not news. I knew it, Gliss. I knew it was going to happen. It's not news from the service entrance. It took 66 episodes.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was the first time. That's the first time.
I knew I was going to do it one day. I just didn't know when, and I block it out my head every day. I knew it was going to happen. Not bad. All right. It's The Drive with Mario Smith here on Backchannel.tv. Decisive Rattlesnake, Mark Tall Zebra, everybody. Thanks for coming along. Hang out with us. Eileen Dordek will be up next. We will be right back. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to The Drive with Mario Smith here on Backchannel.tv. It is a beautiful May 4th, 2022. May the 4th be with you. I did not want to say that, but I did. I suppose someone had to say it. Yesterday, or actually Monday evening, late Monday evening, Politico announced that the draft opinion of the Supreme Court had been leaked. And in it, it talked about the repeal of Roe v. Wade and Planned Parenthood versus Casey. And as we told you yesterday on the show, Gliss and I kind of just started talking to each other through a text. And the overwhelming feeling of despair swept the country. And I wanted to have someone on to talk about what these next steps are and what restorative reproductive justice is, and all those things. And we're going to have Eileen Dordek join us now. Eileen Dordek is a proven and tireless advocate whose roots are deep here in Illinois. She lives, works, volunteers, and is raising her family here in the Chicago area. As a licensed social worker and proven advocate, Eileen has spent her life serving others and advocating for the rights of women, families, and the LGBTQ plus community. Let's welcome in Eileen Dordek to the show. Eileen, thank you so much for being here. It's nice to see you. I'm glad that you are able to chat with us for a little bit today. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here with you. I wish it was under better circumstances, but this is important that we talk about it everywhere and all the time.
Absolutely. The fallout from the conversation, well, the leak of the draft opinion. The response has been swift, as one would expect from both sides of the issue. The president has said that he will do everything he can to make sure that this doesn't happen. Senators are going back and forth with each other. Some Republican senators are. It's a little bit of everything in that arena. But what I'd like to do today is talk about exactly where we are, knowing that there's a 99.9% probability that they're going to repeal Roe v. Wade, even though we know draft opinions are not the actual event itself. Where does one start when we start talking about what might happen next?
Well, I think it's important maybe to step back a little bit and actually talk about what the environment's been like for abortion access for probably the last decade or so. Those of us have been working in the field for years and advocating. I have been particularly focused on Illinois and ensuring that there is access, and we have pro-choice majorities in our state legislature, which really creates the rules around access to reproductive health care. So we've known for years that this is coming. We've known that this was the ultimate goal. It is why the Republicans have wanted to make sure that they got judges on the Supreme Court. So when Roe v. Wade was passed in the 70s, it took what before that was kind of a state by state approach toward legalizing abortion care and made it federal. And then what ended up happening, sadly, was a lot of people went, well, we're good. We don't have to worry about this anymore. It's taken care of with Roe. But over the last 10 years or so, more and more states have been introducing TRAP laws, which are laws that have very stringent requirements around abortion clinics, making it hard to serve people. They've had laws where doctors have had to have access to hospitals, but hospitals don't always want doctors who provide abortion. So it's been a catch-22. There have been implementing laws that have forced ultrasounds on women before they have abortions. They've forced waiting periods, which are medically unnecessary. So they've really made it hard in so many states for people to access abortion as it is. If you're a rural person, a person who doesn't have a lot of income, if you're young, if you are a Black or brown person, or anybody who has trouble getting access to health care, this has been happening for years. And we also know wealthy people, people with money, can get whatever kind of healthcare they want because they can fly wherever they need to. So this is really aimed at people who already have challenges, people who already have trouble accessing healthcare. So that's kind of the environment. This is just kind of the point on the top of the I, right? Dotting the I and crossing the T as far as limiting access. And what this does is this will engage the trigger laws that many states have on their books right now, which say if Roe v. Wade is overturned, then abortion will be illegal in our state. So there are 13 states that automatically have this trigger laws. And as soon as that is official, abortion will be illegal. But because of the Texas law and the Supreme Court not taking up any challenge to the Texas law, already states across the country, Missouri, Mississippi, well, Mississippi was the law, but then the Texas law, other states across the country have already put bans into place at 15 weeks or lower. And we know that Roe v. Wade said that viability was the line. So about 23, 24 weeks.
There's also references to Plessy versus Ferguson in the opinion, and there's a sodomy. The word sodomy is used. That kind of informs folks who bother to read it deeper that they have other plans, not just about abortion, but about other things that have been settled already.
Yeah.
And there's that. I do want to ask before I get deeper into that part about the reproductive justice piece. I know here in Illinois, thank God I live in Illinois. I know here in Illinois, for many years, it has been a ironclad lockdown situation. Groups like yours making sure that women have a right to make their own choices in regard to their bodies. Governor Pritzker, J.B. Pritzker, all but clarified yesterday that's not changing anytime soon. Have there been any conversations that you've been involved in the past 48 hours, 72 hours, or whatever it's been, around making sure that nothing ever happens and that there are no trigger laws introduced here in Illinois?
Yeah, well, and I'll give you a really brief history. So Illinois 30 years ago was one of the worst states on reproductive freedom. We had a lot of restrictions. Rapists could argue that they, had a right to tell a woman she could or couldn't have an abortion. Husbands had to be conferred with before a woman could have an abortion. And so what we did a few years ago was pass a law called HB 40, which did two things. It got rid of our trigger law that was on the books. And probably even more importantly, it gave Medicaid funding for abortion, which it is not taken care of at the federal level, and it wasn't taken care of in Illinois. So at that point, people who have the insurance of Medicaid could get abortions paid for. So that was huge, and getting rid of the trigger law was huge. Next, we passed the Reproductive Health Act, and that took all this language that was still on the books but wasn't enacted because of Roe v. Wade, and it actually just crossed it out. So got rid of that language in our laws so that, again, if Roe v. Wade was overturned, we would not have to put that into law. Then it also codified abortion as healthcare. So that's what J.B. Pritzker, our governor, was referring to in particular yesterday. Now it is in the law that abortion is considered healthcare in Illinois. Last year, we also we repealed parental notice of abortion. So young people who feel like they can't tell their families can go get the healthcare that they need. So those were 3 big laws that we passed here in Illinois. The problem is, if we don't elect in Illinois a Supreme Court, we have 2 seats of our Supreme Court up for election this year, and that's another branch of government. If we don't elect pro-choice people to the Supreme Court, they could invalidate one of those laws. And, people across the country probably have situations like this as well as we have in Illinois. The other thing is, and this is the issue across the country in every state legislature, we have elections every 2 years. So every 2 years, you have to elect pro-choice majorities or a pro-choice governor to make sure that you protect abortion rights, because this is the political issue that rallies the base for the right more than any other issue. And what you were referring to was those other, references to other law that came up in the Supreme Court draft. And what's important there is a lot of laws have been made based on Roe v. Wade, right? Exactly. So in particular, the one that really stands out is Obergefell, which made sure that marriage equality was the law of the land. And if we don't have the right of privacy covered in Roe v. Wade, then we might lose those rights. The other thing was, I think that I'm not a lawyer, I'm a social worker, but there was some reference to places where other laws have been changed to change the Supreme Court decisions. Every single other one of those expanded rights. This is the only time that they would restrict rights and take rights away from people who've had them for 50 years.
Other countries are easing access to abortions, and the United States appears to be restricting access. When you and I talked the other day, we were talking about how that states saw this coming. Everybody kind of saw it coming when Trump appointed his second justice. But your Oklahomas, your Texases, those and other states all started changing their abortion laws to line up with the decision once Roe v. Wade is repealed. I know there's a bill in the House for women's reproductive rights that has been passed by the House, but the Senate's not going to pass, not as currently comprised. They're not going to pass that bill, but the bill is waiting to be dealt with on the Senate floor. Is there a chance that gets looked at now? That the Democratic senators and the Senate Majority Leader say, we need to put this on the table and to codify Roe v. Wade's repeal?
Yeah, so that's the Women's Health Protection Act. And what that would require is it would require 60 votes. Right now, we obviously don't have the 60 votes. We have 50 votes. There are no pro-choice Republicans in the Senate. There are no pro-choice Republicans in the House. There are no pro-choice Republicans. I know in Illinois since 2014, there's not been a pro-choice Republican in Illinois elected. So the answer is no, unless they overturn or get rid of the filibuster. That's not going to happen because of Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema. So no. The other thing too, though, is if we had passed the ERA, the Equal Rights Amendment, which honestly, we could take blame for that in Illinois because that was defeated here in Illinois. And if we had passed the Equal Rights Amendment, that would also cover abortion. So we've had opportunities as a country, and I take responsibility as somebody from the left. We got complacent. After Roe v. Wade, our team said, we're fine. And people on the right have been laser focused on this issue for decades. And this is why we're where we're at. I personally always vote first on pro-choice. I will only vote for people who will support reproductive freedom. And then I look at other issues like the environment, LGBTQ rights, lots of other issues. But too many people across this country who really care about reproductive freedom, but are not willing to vote on that issue first and foremost. This is another reason why we're in this position. But, you know, we can change this at the state level. There are plenty of states that could change it. And then, you know, eventually we could change it at the federal level, but this is long term. We need to be focused. We need to stay focused.
Before I spring you, Eileen, and I really appreciate you being on the show today. I absolutely do appreciate this. And the idea of having this conversation was one I thought we would never have, but here we are. What can people do? In that we know that this is really going to hit the poorest communities, poor whites, blacks, Latinos, and women's rights in general. And again, those other things that we mentioned, same-sex marriage, sodomy, all of it is now in play because of the strength of the former strength of Roe v. Wade. But what can people do to, I suppose, codify is the only word that I can think of. What is it that people should be trying to do now?
So I would say there are two tracks that we need to work on. We need to continue to work on the political track. And sadly, it's a longer, harder track. But people need to focus on electing pro-choice officials, hold them accountable. You know, Democrats in particular need to realize that this is a positive, this is a good political issue for Democrats, because people, 70% of people, 69% of people in the United States support Roe v. Wade and having the protections of Roe. So we need to keep focusing on electing political leaders who support reproductive freedom. The other part is practical, and that's where we need to help people get the reproductive care that they need. This means people can get medication and do self-administered abortions. I know this is not something we thought we'd have to talk about, because it used to be people could just go to their doctor, go to their nurse practitioner, but now they can order abortion pills online, and there are groups that will help people get that kind of care that they need. We also can help fund abortion funds, which are practical abortion funds, which help people go to other states to get abortions, help them with childcare, help them with funds to fly, with overnight a visit if that's a requirement. So you can give to, we have in Illinois, we've got the Chicago Abortion Fund, the Midwest Access Coalition, and there are abortion funds across the country helping women and people who need abortions to get that kind of care. So you can support that.
I neglected to mention that your organization is called Personal PAC. Eileen Dordick, thank you so much for being on the show today. Hope to reach out to you again if we need to, and a million times. Thank you so much for
Thank you so much for covering this issue, Mario. Nice to see you. Nice to see you
as well. Eileen Dordick from Personal PAC here on The Drive with me, Mario Smith. I contend that in as much as we have these conversations, and it's so important, if you're of voting age, to register to vote. It's never been more important. We say this every year. We say this every election. We say this all the time. But it's never been as important as it is right now, because literally the world's on fire. And this country is the influencer of a lot of things around this world. And this is a powerfully bad look. It is a powerfully bad precedent. It's just bad. And I heard a woman say something that I will try to paraphrase as best as I can. I'm not interested in your Christianity. I'm not interested in you using the Bible as a be all end all. This is a book of law. I'm not interested in any of that. I will defend your right for you to have that interest, however, but I'm not interested in any of that. As a human being, my body, a woman's body, the human being has a choice, and it should be a free will choice to do whatever the hell they want to do with their own body. The choice to have a baby or not, the choice to have an abortion or not, choices. Those things should be, they should never be sanctioned by man. Or rather, let me take that back. They should never be sanctioned by government. Ever. And the fact that this is happening is it's utterly ridiculous. And I am I can't help it. Like I said yesterday, I know too many women, and I know a bunch of women that are planning families and getting married, and women in my family, same thing. And it's like this is horrifying. And then when you start putting in Plessy versus Ferguson, Brown versus Board of Education, and you start using words like sodomy in terms of talking about same-sex marriages, LGBTQ rights, it's all hands on deck now. They're coming for all of it. This is just this, as huge as this is, it is the smallest piece. They are coming for everything. I was reading about the minority running the country, not minorities. Ha! No one wants, you're not ready for that. I was talking about like the minority opinion running the United States. This is it. This is happening. Donald Trump didn't even win the election he ran. Not the one where they claim that he was robbed of the election. I mean, the first time he ran, the only time he ran, Hillary Clinton had more popular votes. This has happened 3 elections in a row, I think. Register and vote. And get involved in this process so that we can get these laws changed for the good of man. The world is on fire, and it's time for people to get ready to put the fire out, man. And if we don't, who will? You gonna wait for your grandchildren to get old enough to do it? That's foolish. You're alive now. Do it. Fix it. It is utterly fixable. And to think that it isn't is ridiculous, but this is not a good look, to say the least. Here's what NPR has to say, and we're also following this story. Of course we will, and its continuance. Canada's Minister of Family, Children and Social Development told the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation that Americans could access care at providers across the border. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau also voiced strong support for abortion rights yesterday. Roe v. Wade has been out of focus of anti-abortion groups since the opinion came down in 1973, but the history of the movement started more than a century before Roe v. Wade, with roots in British common law. Singer-songwriter Phoebe Bridgers has joined a growing list of celebrities and activists choosing to share their abortion stories publicly. The 27-year-old shared on Instagram and Twitter she had an abortion using medication while on tour in October. I mean, it is what it is. It's coming down. So yeah, I'm glad that we had Eileen Dordek on the show today, and I'm glad that you all were here to see that. You're here with us on The Drive. I'm Mario Smith, and if you are enjoying the show, there are 2 ways to support us. If you're watching right now and you see that subscribe button, click it. Straight up, click it. Subscribe and it'll let you know when we're going to go live. And also, we've got some special stuff planned in the weeks ahead, and we want you to be here for it. It'll let you know when we're on the air, make some kind of noise or fireworks or Jack in the Box, or a picture of the bouquet will come up from Kentucky Fried Chicken, something like that. Another way that you can really help me out, no matter where you're watching or listening, is to leave a review. And I promise we will read those reviews. If they're new ones on Friday, you can go to backchannel.tv, BACKCHANNEL.tv, and leave a review. Your positive reviews keep the show going, and we really appreciate those and want you to do it. So go leave a review. Wait till after the show, because you'll have to have an opinion formed. This is important, and I'm hoping that folks actually are willing to have open ears on this one. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention bought access to location data harvested from tens of millions of phones in the United States to perform analysis of compliance, curfews, patterns of people visiting K through 12 schools and specifically monitor the effectiveness of policy in the Navajo Nation, according to CDC documents obtained by Motherboard. The story comes from Vice. The documents also show that although the CDC used COVID-19 as a reason to buy access to the data more quickly, it intended to use it for more thorough CDC purposes. Location data is information on a device's location sourced from the phone, which can then show where a person lives, works, and where they went. The sort of data the CDC bought was aggregated, meaning it was designed to follow trends that emerge from the movements of groups of people, but researchers have repeatedly raised concerns with how location data can be de-anonymized and used to track specific people. The documents reveal the expansive plan the CDC had last year to use location data from a highly controversial data broker, SafeGraph. The company the CDC paid $420,000 for access to 1 year of data includes Peter Thiel and the former head of Saudi intelligence among its investors. Google banned the company from the Play Store in June. So while COVID is going and there's massive panic, the pandemic is beginning, there's massive panic all over the place, the CDC, while telling you to wear a mask, take a mask off, go here, go there, do that, do this, they were mining your data. They're buying it. You have a nice day as well. That's to no one in particular. I'm just saying. Skirt says not 100% not happy about the Supreme Court working to overturn Wade, but I'm hoping this will get apathetic Democratic voters who are unhappy with Biden's performance to stay in the game and vote this midterm. It's never going to be as important as it is this midterm election, man. This is the one. I totally agree. This is the one. I find it hard to believe that anybody would think that this is going to be a walk. I do agree with Eileen about this is where the Democrats get to show their mettle. This is where they get a chance to say, okay, we have something to campaign on now, because it's not just abortion rights. It's just not. It's all of it. Hey, Ari, how you doing? What's up, Gary? Native Asp, Harsh Peacock, Decisive Rattlesnake. Hello to all of you. Decisive Rattlesnake is in California. Imported Pig has also joined the stream. Thank you guys so much for being around. Hey, Gliss. First, thanks, man, for making sure that connection was solid and beautiful with Eileen. I want to thank my friend Michaela Blaze for helping make that happen. Michaela Blaze works here in Cook County on the county board. I owe her several beverages for helping me out with that one. And again, thank you, man, for making that connection good. That was pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah, but I think she had some interesting, important points to get across and talking about just some of the other issues out there, and she just put it into a good context for me. So
yeah, because now that the anger has subsided a little bit. Yeah. One of the things she said to me when we talked on the phone, she was like, "Don't stop being angry." She said, "You keep being angry. Don't stop being angry about it, because the moment you stop being angry means that you're willing to have complacency settle in, and I'm not. So I won't be shorting on my level of anger, but really good having her on, and we thank her again. I just wanted to ask you a question while I got you here. NASA's bringing rocks back from Mars. What if those samples contain alien life?
They're like contaminated.
They're worried about alien germs.
Well, I guess I hadn't really thought about that. I mean, haven't we brought like moon rocks back and stuff like that? But I guess this is a different planet.
The moon is made of blue cheese. Come on, you know that. And there are little mice on the moon that eat the blue cheese. They mine it. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, so the web's gonna come back.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah, I saw it on the cartoons. That's how I know it's real. NASA's planning its first ever mission to bring dirt and rocks back from Mars. back to the Earth. But before that momentous event happens, the space agency needs to figure out exactly how to protect our home planet from any alien microbes that might hitch a ride. It seems like every day there's a new thing to go, oh my God, what are we going to do? There's nothing we can do about that. Anybody got a rocket that we can fly off at? I know a guy that has a rocket, actually. Hey, hello, sir. Will we be able to get in the thing with you and get off this thing? I don't think it's happening. Peter Doran says, maybe this is the most important environmental assessment that humans have ever done. I think it's a very low probability that there's anything living at the surface of Mars, but there is a possibility. This is not vodka, but if it was, that would be the line to make me drink it. Oh, wow. Yeah, man. Here we go again. Everybody get ready. It's going down. And finally, and I mean this with all sincerity, has anybody watched a movie in their life about the oh, there is some breaking news. Gliss, you got that breaking news sounder? Just saw it. The death toll from COVID in the United States of America has surpassed 1 million deaths, according to data compiled by NBC News, a once unthinkable scale of loss, even for the country with the world's highest recorded toll from the virus. The number, equivalent to the population of San Jose, California, the 10th largest city in the U.S., was reached at a stunning speed 27 months after the country confirmed its first case of the virus. Again, COVID's toll in the U.S. reaches a once unfathomable number, 1 million deaths. Wow. And I was asking, has anybody watched a movie ever about the pyramids and about opening up sarcophaguses and messing around? Scientists want to use cosmic rays to map the Great Pyramids of Giza, and they want to look inside of the pyramids. I'm going to make a strong suggestion. Don't do that. Leave those things alone. Stop trying to figure out how they got built. Stop screwing around with the dirt around them. You know, do cool stuff like have concerts in front of them. Let people go visit and look at them from outside. Going in there, that's how horror movies happen. Don't do it. Leave it and them alone. I'm just saying. Leave it alone. Okay, hot buttered badger. Thought about that one, did you, Michael? Michael Lockett is here, my man. Let's take a break. I think we all need to reset our minds for a moment. It's been a pretty powerful 45 minutes almost of stuff. When we come back, we'll have Skirt's favorite segment. Oh, it's the community report. We'll check and see what's going on in our chat room as well. This is The Drive with Mario Smith here on Backchannel.tv. We'll be right back. There's a whole nother show that's going on when you guys aren't looking. And Bliss saw me get scared because I hit my microphone. Let's see what's happening back here. Skirt is enjoying the breaking news clip. Yeah, I like the Florida man one better, but yes, you have to have these in this day and time. Frequent Sloth has joined us as well. Thank you to everybody who is hanging out with us um, on the drive. Actually, there's some other breaking news. We don't need the sound for this one though. From the Associated Press, Donald Trump Jr. has met with the congressional committee investigating the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. We'll dig into that a little bit later. Okay, it's time for the community report. Again, I know how much Skirt enjoys this, and that this is where you get the information you don't get anywhere else. So enjoy it all. A 22-year-old anti-abortion activist from Nevada scaled San Francisco's tallest building yesterday. Las Vegas resident Maison Deschamps, like Champs-Élysées, Maison Deschamps. My French is dope, right? Maison Deschamps. Was arrested and booked on suspicion of trespassing and resisting arrest, police said, after getting to the top of the 61-floor Salesforce Tower. That is a tall building. It's the tallest building in San Francisco and 12th highest in the United States, according to its owners. Deschamps was arrested just before 11 p.m. Pacific time on top of the building at 415 Mission Street, officials said. The climber's motive is still under investigation, SFPD spokesman Officer Robert Rieka said in a statement. While police won't say what prompted the suspect to make Tuesday's death-defying climb, his mother, Robin Deschamps, said her son is an anti-abortion activist. Maison Deschamps didn't tell his mother about plans to climb Salesforce Tower, but she learned about it later in the day. He's always been a daredevil. His mother told NBC News, I'm super glad that he's safe, and that's all I can pray for. It wasn't immediately clear on Tuesday afternoon if Maison Deschamps has hired or been assigned a defense lawyer. The climb came Tuesday as Americans face the possibility that Roe v. Wade, the landmark Supreme Court ruling that granted abortion rights to women nearly 50 years ago, could be overturned. I am as strong an advocate for things as anybody could ever be. I'm not about to try to climb the Sears Tower. No, not doing that. You'd get my Kim Kardashian audio impression first. And when we when we animate stuff, Gliss, we have to animate Kim Kardashian, and I can do the voice. We have to make that happen.
Of course.
Yes. We'll make that. The endangered California condor, this is from the Redwood National Park in California. The endangered California condor returned to soar the skies over the state's far northern coast redwood forest on Tuesday for the first time in more than a century. 2 captive bred birds were released from a pen in Redwood National Park, about an hour's drive south of the Oregon border, under a project aimed at restoring the giant vultures to their historic habitat in the Pacific Northwest. The 2 male condors were moved into a staging area at late morning, and a remotely controlled gate was opened. After a few minutes of warily eyeing the opening, the birds stepped one by one through the opening, spread their giant wings, and took off. They just jumped up and took flight off into the distance, Tiana Williams-Clausen, wildlife director of the region's Yurok tribe, said in a webcast. That is a humongous bird. That headline is disturbing. Condors were last spotted in the park area around 1892, authorities said. The California condor is the largest native North American bird with a wingspan of nearly 10 feet. The scavenger was once widespread, but had virtually disappeared by the 1970s because of poaching, lead poisoning from eating animals shot by hunters, and destruction of its habitat. The birds can live for 60 years and fly vast distances in search of carrion, so their range could extend into several states. Federal and local fish and wildlife agencies are involved in a restoration project headed by the Yurok tribe, which traditionally has considered the California condor a sacred animal and has been working for years to return the species to the tribe's ancestral territory. For countless generations, the Yurok people have upheld the sacred responsibility to maintain balance in the natural world. Condor reintroduction is a real-life manifestation of our cultural commitment to restore and protect the planet for future generations, Tribal Chairman Joseph L. James said in a statement. They're releasing 2 more condors later, after biologists determined that the 2 birds who took to the skies Tuesday have displayed appropriate behavior. What is appropriate behavior for a condor that has a 10-foot wingspan? What? That doesn't make any sense. That sounds crazy. How do you police? Hey, no name. Hi. Hello. How do you police that? How do you legislate what appropriate behavior is for a condor? I hope you're enjoying the drive. I'm Mario Smith here on Backchannel every Monday through Wednesday and on Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Please send a chat. You can see me right now. You're watching on an Echo Show or Fire TV. The magic word is say Capexa, as we like to refer to it. Say hello and do your thing. Get in the chat. Talk to us. And if you're just listening to us on a Echo speaker, that's fine. Just go to backchannel.tv, BACKCHANNEL.tv, and click on chat and get in with us. We would appreciate it. It's my understanding, and I mean, we have coyotes here in Chicago. In fact, we have more than a few coyotes here in Chicago, but it's my understanding that coyotes generally do not mess with humans. But in Dallas, a 2-year-old has been hospitalized in critical condition after being mauled by a coyote on her front porch. The attack happened about 8:30 a.m. yesterday in a neighborhood just north of White Rock Lake in Dallas, Texas. A police officer responding to the call spotted the coyote in a park near the child's home and opened fire on the animal, which retreated into nearby woods, according to a police statement. It was unknown if the officer wounded the animal, but an active search with a game warden began, police said. Police are warning neighborhood residents that the coyote should be considered extremely dangerous, you think. The attack came less than a week after a coyote attacked a 2-year-old girl on Southern California's Huntington Beach. The coyote was later shot dead. State wildlife experts say the coyote evidently had been fed by neighborhood residents, whether intentionally or not. Otherwise, the coyote would have shied away from human contact, said state urban wildlife biologist Sam Kishnick. Such attacks, quote, are not just rare, they are exceedingly rare, he said. The lack of fear of humans can be disastrous for the coyote, said Robert M. Tim, a retired wildlife biologist with the University of California's Hopland Research and Extension Center, who has long studied the history of human contact with coyotes. A report Tim co-authored for the fall 2017 edition of the journal Human-Wildlife Interactions cited a 2009 study that tabulated 142 reported coyote attacks on humans in the United States and Canada over almost a half century, from 1960 to 2006. A 2011 study recorded 26 coyote attacks on humans in Canada between 1995 and 2010. Quote, this is a difficult problem to manage given the diversity of public attitudes toward coyotes, especially in suburban areas. It quickly becomes a political nightmare for cities, counties, and public agencies, as many people oppose any lethal control of wildlife, which at times is the only solution when some individual coyotes become habituated to living in suburbia to the extent that they attack pets and humans. I assure you, I am in the city, and right down the street from where I am right now, a coyote straight up darted out in the middle of the street one early morning, like 2-something in the morning. And I was like, whoa, they're in the neighborhood. They're normally in like parks and stuff. This bad boy was big, mouth open, and a whole deal. So yeah, that's very it's just pretty frightening. Hope that little girl is okay. Same with the little girl in Huntington Beach. It's not good. That is not good at all. All right, hi David. Bye David. Deborah Rednick, how's mom? Says she's enjoying the show. Hey, David, subscribe. Thank you, David. Really appreciate that. We're going to be giving away a $25 Amazon gift card on Friday, by the way. Abrupt Anteater is here as well. Roughly 1,000 years ago, artists working by the light of burning reeds carved figures into the ceiling of a cave in what's now Alabama. crouching in the narrow space below. Over the millennium that followed, the carvings became almost invisible to the naked eye as they got covered by the mud that naturally accumulated on the cave's walls. Now, those carvings have been revealed by advanced photography as the largest set of carvings ever found inside a cave in North America, some of them depicting figures almost 7 feet long. Several of the carvings seem to show people wearing Native American regalia, such as headdresses, and carrying what appear to be rattles. Researchers think that they could represent spirits of the dead. They are either people dressed in regalia to look like spirits, or they are spirits, said archaeologist Jan Simic, a professor of anthropology at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. And if they were people dressed as spirits, they were, for a time, considered the spirits themselves. He said, the term we like to use is that they were materializing those spirits through the costumes that they wore, he said. Simic is the lead author of a research paper on the carvings published yesterday in the journal Antiquity. It describes 5 of the largest figures found on the cave ceiling by a photographic study that originally aimed to record the cave's carvings in case they became damaged or invisible. Pardon my old man move as I move this chair around. 4 of the figures seem to be people wearing regalia, while the 5th is a coiled snake, possibly a diamondback rattlesnake. Ooh, hey, they got caves. They got caves. Of course they have caves. They've got like weird carvings and stuff there in Oregon.
Oh yeah, we got some stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just checking. In the world we live in now, I need to know every weird thing that's happening in every state. So when I go visit these places, I can be like, stay away from that.
I better start a list for you in Oregon, because it could take a while.
It's like those dummies that are going to try to look into the Great Pyramids of Giza. Leave them alone. Don't be a dummy.
Yeah, I don't want to be doing that.
Nobody saw the mummy.
Right?
No one? Not one person saw the mummy. I saw it. Nobody saw the mummy? None of them saw the mummy. We are not worried about Hollywood movie. Open up the pyramids. No.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea.
Let me tell you, if I was living in
Egypt, they wanted to be there for a reason.
Exactly. I don't need to know how they were built. I don't need to know what happened. They're there. I respect them. I am not sticking a camera in them. I don't want to know. If I was working on that, I'd be like, hey, boss, peace. I'm going to listen to Wu-Tang. I'm out. In Egypt, I'm listening to the Wu-Tang Clan. That's my thing, Bliss. I'm listening to the Wu-Tang Clan. I can't be part of your excavation into this pyramid.
Yeah.
No. Hey, Tina, how you doing? Welcome to the show, everybody. Hal's mom is here, Bliss. That's so cool. She is so funny. She was perfect on that show yesterday. Oh,
yeah, she's great.
So good. Lethal Coyote, Abrupt Anteater, Petite Sloth, Heartbreaking Chicken. All of you, thank you for joining the show today. When we come back, we will reset the show and work on hour number 2. We want to again thank Deborah Rudnick. We thanked you. We want to thank Eileen Dordek for being on the show in our first hour to talk about the Roe v. Wade situation. We'll be back in a moment. It's The Drive with Mario Smith here on Backchannel.tv. We'll be right back. There I am. Welcome back to The Drive, everybody. I'm Mario Smith, live from Chicago, Illinois. Thank you so much for joining us today. Busy hour of the show, a lot happening. We had a great conversation with Eileen Dordek, and now it's time for us to have a great conversation with you as I am watching my stories load up here on the computer. And I scratch my ear because I can do it. Ear scratching is my thing. Let's welcome in my man, Jay Gliss. He is in Beaverton, Oregon. He will appear on your screen right now. Jay Gliss. There he is. Ha! Look at
what's
me.
up?
As we discussed, I'm great. Thanks for asking. I know we haven't talked to each other in a while. As we discussed in the first hour of the show, we did not plan the maroon shirt thing.
No, we did not. Yes,
and
it's only
nobody's gonna believe it. I know, but that's so weird. That's so weird. When I saw you pop up, I was like, "Whoa, that's just where our minds are locked in."
Yeah, I think. Well, there's more talking after the show. Like in the morning, it's more like just like little blurbs here and there.
Yeah. Because before the show, it's like, "Here, do this. I got to go do that." Or like I was gonna check with you about Eileen, but then something was like, "Why don't you check your email?" And I did, and I was like, "Oh, it's done already. Okay, cool. I don't have to worry about it." Yeah, which I mean, I didn't get a frantic text like, "Dude, this isn't gonna happen," which would have thrown me all the way over the edge this morning. But I was recording the podcast that I did with the Silver Room here in town, so I could not. I couldn't separate myself into two people like I have so desperately wanted to do my whole life, so I could stay in the bed in one person or as one person and be out in the streets as the other one. That came out wrong.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that was an interesting take there.
Yep, but hey, keep it moving. Yeah, let's roll the tape. Let's go. Thank you to everybody. Roll the tape. That's right. That's my new thing now. Just already just roll the tape. Thank you to everybody who's checking out the show here on Backchannel.tv. If you happen to be watching this on YouTube, like Tina and Miss Rudnick and Michael Lockett, thank you guys for watching as well. And Benjamin, it's his first time here. Hey, Benjamin, how you doing? Benjamin's in Puerto Rico. All right, word. JD's in Washington. David subscribed to the show while he was here, and we appreciate that. Let's get on with the headlines. The oldest son of former President Donald Trump. You know, I got to say this every time I cannot believe that happened, and I totally believe it happened, but I just can't believe that really happened. It's like a bad television. Well, it's all like a bad TV show. The oldest son of former President Donald Trump has met with the congressional committee investigating the January 6, 2021 insurrection at the U.S. Capitol, according to two people familiar with the matter. The interview with Donald Trump Jr. took place yesterday. The two people who confirmed the interview insisted on anonymity to discuss a private meeting. Trump Jr. is one of nearly 1,000 witnesses the committee has interviewed as it works to compile a record of the attack, the worst on the Capitol in more than 2 centuries. He is the second of Trump's children known to speak to the committee after his sister Ivanka Trump sat down with lawmakers for 8 hours in early April. Trump Jr. was seen backstage at the rally on the White House ellipse that took place shortly before Trump supporters marched to the Capitol and breached the building. In several social media videos posted at the time of the attack, Trump Jr. was seen with his girlfriend Kimberly Guilfoyle and other members of the family as his father prepared to speak to the crowd. The House committee has also released text messages from January 6th in which Trump Jr. pleaded with the White House to get his father to forcefully condemn the riot. Yeah, it didn't work. It didn't work. And in another story that we will have to deal with at another time, but it is headline worthy. Amber Heard, or as some people, I can't repeat what they call her, Amber Heard has said she knew she should have left Johnny Depp the first time he hit her, but she couldn't bring herself to do it. Ultimately, though, she couldn't bring herself to break up either. She walked away after being slapped, but a few days later, Depp came back with an apology, a few cases of her favorite wine, and a promise he'd never do it again, Heard testified. Depp, 58, is suing Heard for libel in the Fairfax County Circuit Court after she wrote a December 2018 op-ed in the Washington Post describing herself as a public figure representing domestic abuse. The article never mentioned Depp by name, but Depp's lawyer said he was defamed nonetheless because it clearly referred to accusations she made in 2016 during their divorce proceedings. And those are the headlines at the top of the hour. When we come back, we'll talk about Dave Chappelle and how that dude that they beat up got his arms twisted in every direction except the normal direction arms go in. And we've got other entertainment things as well. It's The Drive with Mario Smith, and we'll be back right after these words. Welcome back to The Drive, everybody. This is The Drive. I'm your host, Mario Smith, here on Backchannel, the only place on your Echo device where you can watch and listen to live shows and chat with the hosts in real time. We're here Monday through Wednesday and Friday, starting at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Send me a chat. I'd love to read your stuff. I like reading and answering questions. You can chime in on what we're talking about or anything else, as long as it's cool. I got you. If you can see me right now, you're watching on an Echo Show or Fire TV, you can do the following. You just hit the magic word on that device and say, hey, Capexa, and then start talking, and then we get you in. If you're listening to me on an Echo speaker right now, you can also join by going to backchannel.tv and click join the chat. Once again, backchannel.tv. Get involved, get into it. James Brown's birthday was yesterday, and there you go. Dave Chappelle's a very important person to me. I'm a big fan. I've had the pleasure of hanging out with the man. He is a better man than he is a comedian. And what that little guy did yesterday when he ran up on a no longer skinny Dave Chappelle is to be applauded because he got what he deserved. Dave Chappelle was attacked on stage Tuesday night by a man who ran up and tackled a stand-up comedian during a performance at the Hollywood Bowl in Los Angeles. In video posted to social media, even though people aren't allowed to have cell phones, it's another opportunity to say I'm glad there was at least one so people could see what happened to him so that they will think about not doing that. A man could be seen running onto the stage before leveling Chappelle, and I don't think he leveled him, as security officers raced to intervene. The Los Angeles Police Department confirmed the incident, telling NBC Los Angeles that the man was armed with a replica gun that could eject a real knife blade when discharged correctly. It was unclear if he made an attempt to use the weapon. The suspect, identified as Isaiah Lee, 23, has been charged with felony assault with a deadly weapon. An LAPD spokesman said Wednesday Lee's bail is set at $30,000. The LAPD said Lee was in the audience, then jumped on stage and attacked Chappelle just as he was about to leave. The comedian was performing during the fourth night of the Dave Chappelle and Friends show, which was part of the Netflix's Joke Festival. Security guards hired for the show intervened and pulled the suspect off the comedian before detaining him, police said. They said Lee sustained superficial injuries during the altercation and was taken to the hospital. Chappelle was not injured in the attack. In a statement, a Netflix spokesperson condemned the attack. Quote, "We care deeply about the safety of creators, and we strongly defend the right of stand-up comedians to perform on stage without fear of violence," the spokesperson said. In a statement, Chappelle's spokesperson said, "The performances by Chappelle at the Hollywood Bowl were epic and record-breaking, and he refuses to allow last night's incident to overshadow the magic of this historic moment." Brianna Sachs, a BuzzFeed news reporter who attended the show and witnessed the altercation, told NBC News she was left stunned after the suspect charged and tackled Chappelle. She said both uniformed security workers and people in plain clothes appeared to rush to Chappelle's aid and started kicking and punching the suspect in an assault that went on for several minutes. Hey, Gliss, you know, a boxing round is what, 3 minutes? I understand that it went on for a long time, this whooping that he took from the likes from many people, including Jamie Foxx, Busta Rhymes' boy, who's always on stage with him, a bunch of other comedians. Everybody was there, and they all helped,
is there video,
including Dave.
Is there video of that? Because that's what I want the video of.
I think there is. I don't know if it's got to somewhere, but I don't think. I think in watching that video though, that's the one that they should just show once a week on television. Like, this is what you don't do when you go to a show, and show him jumping up there and tackling him, and then show him getting beat up. Right. Because the after effect of that is his arm, the human arm bends this way. His arm was extending up.
Yeah.
They broke that man's arm.
Yeah.
You kind of had that coming, homeboy. You don't do that. And as they put him on the stretcher, people are going, boo. Boo. So Chris Rock got on stage, and I did see this video. Chappelle daps him up, and Chris takes the mic from him and goes, "Is that Will Smith?" That's brilliant. It will never get better than that. It is brilliant. But here's the thing, and this is why I wanted to have you on for a second. Look, I host shows. I got a ton of friends that are comedians. Some folks have seen these people. Some of them write for your favorite shows, all that cool stuff. I mean, I've been on stage and I've seen when comedians talk about somebody, the look that people have on their faces when they see that. They get very angry at the comedian. I've seen comedians have to defend themselves after a show many times because of things they said and or did to someone who was bothering them from the stage. This whole idea of running up on somebody who you don't know, and you don't know how horrified they may be of that happening, that's so stupid. And number two, I can say with great certainty, some of these dudes are conceal and carry people. Yeah. Some of these young ladies are conceal and carry people. That could have ended a whole different way for that young dude.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why people like that tend to have, security and stuff like that, measures in place, as you said, whether they're carrying or whatnot. But just what an idiot. I mean, it's just like, there's no way around it. What was that guy thinking? And I also want to know which one of those guys broke the guy's arm. That's the other piece of information missing.
I'm
going to say it was Busta.
Probably was Busta Rhymes. Could have been. But I hope to God it was Dave. Because it would be fitting if Dave Chappelle did that. And Tina says Dave made a joke right before it happened about having security in case someone ran up on him. Like seconds before that, and he says, all right, y'all. He's like making his move to get off stage. And then this happens. And Dave stomped him out. Because Dave also refers to the fact that he stomped him out. He said something like, I've been doing this for 35 years, and that was the first chance I had to stomp someone out. So yeah, he deserved it. And you know, hey, that's what happens. I promise you, they've got to start showing that video though everywhere of him getting beat up, because that's the only way it's going to stop. Because somebody's going to run up on someone and get beat up, and it's not going to happen once or twice. It's going to happen all the time. All the time. That is so stupid.
Be like a PSA of just, you know, don't do this. There's consequences.
Or like show it
as if I mean, you shouldn't need to be told that, but at the same time, this is, you know, at least one thing you can point to that shows what some of those consequences might be.
Hey, Plucky Ferret, how you doing? Hi, Complex Mule. Hey, Candy and Debbie and Solitary Quagga. The other part of this too that is very telling is that everybody is on. If somebody runs up here, we're getting them. Jamie Foxx was in the audience and got up on that stage and got him. So I have a few questions though. Oh, that's great. I'm glad the dude got the you-know-what beat out of him as he should have. How come security didn't stop that man from getting at Dave Chappelle? Where were they? What was going on with that? Number two, how do people get phones in there? When I saw Dave, the last time I saw him here in Chicago, they put our phones in a lock. How people sneaking phones in? Folks supposed to be checking bags and whatnot. To that end, how'd that guy get in there with that fake gun with a real knife? Tighten it up around my guy, is what I'm saying.
Security, that's a lot of red flags, like security falling through.
Yeah, they failed. Cool. They should never be security for him again.
Especially now after the Will Smith thing. I mean, that's a celebrity that did that.
Yeah.
So, you know, now you think about civilians, and you know, we've seen it in sports at times, but you know, usually that at the time appears to be more of a comical thing, because you know, they're usually doing something stupid. But even that, I mean, a lot of those people end up not in great shape either when, you know, they get hit by a security guard or whatever. But yeah, there needs to be better security. There's no way that someone should even get to Dave Chappelle.
Ever. That is and should be impossible. And yet it happened. So 3 red flags, just 3. I'm sure there were others, but there's no way ever that a guy's supposed to come in there with anything. That, again, all of that could have been tragic. Nobody's going to talk about that part because it's too much fun talking about seeing this guy get his ass kicked, which is great. I love it. I'm a strong advocate for you not hopping up on stage when somebody's doing their thing, comedian or artist or anybody. That's like, who was that? Steffi Graf got stabbed, or some tennis player many years ago got stabbed during a game.
Yeah, I think it was Steffi Graf. She got stabbed by a fan that just walked out onto the court.
Yeah, people running on the baseball diamonds, football fields. Yeah, you deserve whatever you get if you get in their space. I've seen many football players in the NFL love it when a fan runs on the field because they get to open up on them.
It's just like, it's going to be the best hit I have all season.
I may not have a hit this clean in my life, and he doesn't have on pads. Mine.
I mean, that could go for anybody. It could be the kicker. Like, the kicker doesn't get to hit anybody. So I mean, he's going to take that moment.
Jan Stenerud. Jan Stenerud has tackled him. Oh my God, that fan's bleeding. Blood everywhere. Yeah, don't do it. I will be on stage several times this summer here in Chicago, and I will promise you, if I see you coming, I'm going to forget that I have that microphone, because you're not going to get me. I'm scared to see what happens, and I'm slight. I have a belly, but I'm losing it because I got to be on stage. But there's no way. That is just out. So shout out to Dave Chappelle. I hope Dave is cool. And I meant what I said. He's a better man than he is a comedian. Nobody deserves that, though. No, I don't mean the guy deserved that whooping. No comedian deserves that, to have to be in constant fear of a fool running on stage and deciding that they want to be famous. And it turns out that he did it because he was against the trans jokes that Dave was doing. Even more reason to beat him up. You're against his jokes, man. That's fine. Be against the jokes. You bought a ticket to the Hollywood Bowl to get your ass kicked. That's dumb. You're a dummy. You're officially stupid. I do a bit, Gliss, on the radio show. It's called the Fred G. Sanford Dummy of the Week. Yeah, this dude won. He won hands down this week. Well, hello, Dolly. After she said she didn't want it, she got it anyway. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 2022 inductees were announced today, and despite initially opting to respectfully bow out of the nomination process, Dolly Parton is part of this year's diverse class. Some of the other inductees include Pat Benatar, Lionel Richie, Eminem, Carly Simon, Harry Belafonte, Duran Duran, the Eurythmics, and Judas Priest. Let's go down the list, Gliss. Oh, here we go. The Musical Excellence Award for Judas Priest and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Well deserved. The Early Influence Award, Harry Belafonte and Elizabeth Cotton. All right. The Ahmet Ertegun Award to Alan Grubman, Jimmy Iovine, and Sylvia Robinson. Nice. Very nice. They didn't put in Tribe Called Quest. Yeah, they should have. I mean, it's Tribe Called Quest. What are they doing? What are they thinking?
Yeah, that doesn't seem right.
No. Put in the Tribe. That's okay. They're in my Hall of Fame. Don't need the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame needs to be redone anyway, but that's another show. Has anyone seen Doctor Strange yet? Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Woo! Might be the most insanely Marvel movie ever, for good and ill. Unleashing the infinite possibilities of the multiverse. Throws open the studio's toy chest. Say toy chest 10 times fast while you're listening to me read this. Everyone, ready, go. Toy chest, toy chest, toy chest. But the anything goes aspects of that can be alternately thrilling, disorienting, and occasionally a little silly. Also, the sequel proves highly entertaining, if not quite worthy of the pent-up demand for it. I happen to think that they're giving Doctor Strange a little bit more of a role in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, he has a big role in the comic universe for sure, but this is good. This is how you start to see that Marvel universe really, the cinematic universe really become a thing. I do not have a problem with it.
Been pretty big in the the recent Spider-Man series as well.
Yes, and all that connects. Professor X is in the yellow chair. That's a good thing. If you like the Marvel movies, that's a good thing. I'm very excited into the multiverse. Although I can't go with any of my friends because they're all going to try to make sure that we're as close to the multiverse as possible, and I want to be able to remember the movie. So I won't be traveling with any of those folks. One of my favorite musicians, Ron Carter, has made more than 2,000 records, and at 85, he has no plans to slow down. Next week, Tuesday on the 10th, For the Love of Ron Carter and Friends will take place at Carnegie Hall. It's a one-night 85th birthday celebration. He'll lead 3 different bands performing highlights from his career. If you heard the song The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face by Roberta Flack, it's Ron Carter playing the bass. That song is haunting and it's beautiful, and it's all because of that amazing bass line in that song. We just talked about A Tribe Called Quest. Ron Carter is on one of their albums. He has played with everybody, and everybody says the same thing about him, that he is an amazing side man, yet he's the man. Unbelievably long and brilliant career in the Miles Davis Quintet in the 60s. He was there. Dude is just bad. Just bad. He's like the Michael Jordan musician for sure. Stanley Clarke, majorly influenced by Ron Carter. He said that just if you get a chance, folks, you get an opportunity, check out anything at all by Ron Carter. He is bad, super bad man. Fierce Husky, Gigantic Crane, Assorted Cricket. Thank you all for joining the show. Happy well. Welcome. When we come back, it's time for the Dylan T. Pickles Unipiper Sports page. There's some things in sports we got to talk about. Enjoy it, everybody. Take a break. Let's all take a break. It's The Drive with Mario Smith here on Backchannel.tv. We'll be back right after these words. Okay, let's do this real quick. If you're enjoying the show, there are two ways to support the show that would really help me out. If you're watching right now, you can hit that subscribe button that you see on the left at the bottom, I believe it is. Click it. Subscribe and I'll let you know when the show is coming on, when we go live. And also, we've got some really cool things happening soon, and we want you to be a part of all of that. And the other way you can help is to leave a review. Please leave a review of the show. It's okay. We'll read them. I'll try to read some of them on Friday for sure. We'll make that happen, and we really appreciate it. Go to backchannel.tv to do all of those things. Man, the NFL cannot get enough of itself, can it? It's always doing something. Well, they introduced their 2022 international schedule, and here's what it looks like. Week 4, Sunday, October 2nd, the Vikings will play the Saints in London at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, a beautiful stadium for a terrible soccer team. Week 5, Sunday, October 9th, the Giants play the Packers in that same place in London's Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. In week 8, Sunday, October 30th, the Broncos play the Jaguars, in Wembley Stadium in London. Okay, those are all cool. All right, got it. Good. Early morning games too, 8:30 a.m. 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. On week 10, the Seahawks will play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Munich, Germany. That's Sunday, November 13th. In week 11, November 21st, the 49ers will play the Arizona. I keep wanting to call them the Phoenix Cardinals. I almost called them the St. Louis Cardinals. The 49ers play the Cardinals in Mexico City at Estadio Azteca on November 21st. Should be pretty good. That's the one. That game in Mexico could have 100,000 people. Could be 100,000 people in Wembley too. Could be more than 100,000 people at those games. That's pretty stunning. I didn't do it. Hold on. Keep forgetting sports hat. As long as I keep my hair cut, I can not wear the hat. But if for sports, you got to identify what it is. You wouldn't know this, but years ago, there was a television guy here in Chicago, a children's television host, because I am forever a child, Ray Rayner. And Ray Rayner used to wear a Cubs and White Sox hat that looked like a Sherlock Holmes hat. And he would talk about the Sox, and then he'd turn it around and talk about the Cubs. Yes. Actually, he would talk about the Cubs first because they were on WGN. He was kind of contractually obligated to talk about how horrible they were. but yeah, whatever. So I
That's
think
like there's people in the Bay Area sometimes have hats like that. They're like half A's, half Giants, and it always confused me when I was growing up. I was like, why? Like, no, like that's not how this works.
That is not how any of this works. That's right. Murky Aardvark, Weary Guinea Pig, Fierce Husky. Hello, 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 and hello to all of you. By the way, Tina said, I'm trying to see Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Wackiness and Everything Everywhere All at Once. I want to see that too. Definitely want to see it. And she says something about Eminem here. What is this? Let's see. It hasn't been 25 years for him yet. Really, I think only because Jimmy Iovine is in it this year is why they did Eminem. Boo! And I know for a fact she likes Eminem, but not before Tribe. No, no.
I agree with that, and you know, like I was in high school when Eminem was like the biggest thing on the planet.
Yeah.
But I think Eminem himself would probably say that. I mean, A Tribe Called Quest. That's one of his main influences in music, and I think when you're talking about Eminem, what's that? Yeah, exactly. All those people. I mean, people like that, Rakim, like those are all people that, you know, were a base, a jumping off point for his career. And I'm guessing that that this is all really just about commercial success, because obviously he sold a ton of records, but he shouldn't be in before people that came before him. I agree.
Absolutely not. That's just, which is why they need to destroy it and let me redo it. I could fix it. Oh well. The Memphis Grizzlies, they did it last night. They won that game against the Golden State Warriors, 106-101. John Morant, skinny Michael Jordan, scored 47 points, including his team's final 15 in a row. He joins Kobe and LeBron as the only players in NBA history with multiple 45-point playoff games before turning 23. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that the Warriors will win the next two games, because John Morant's not going to score that high again. They won't let him. And I think I don't think they're going to play that well again. And it was a tight game. Wasn't a lot of singing and dancing and talking crazy after that game. And Steph Curry had 27 points. But I'm willing to bet, and here it is, Golden State shot 7 for 38 from 3. That ain't going to happen again. They won't shoot that bad from 3 again, ever. Gary Payton II got his arm broken by Dylan Brooks, and Draymond Green, of course, took an elbow to the face and then gave everybody the bird's the word. It was a good game, but I don't think that's going to happen again. And also, the Celtics won last night big, as I predicted. Jaylen Brown, 30 on 11 for 18 shooting. Jason Tatum, 29 points and a team high 8 assists. Grant Williams, 21 points, and he defended Giannis. Giannis had 28 points, but on 11 for 27 shooting. He also had 6 turnovers because they met him before he got across the timeline. The Bulls could have done this. I should be coaching. Boston made 23s. Milwaukee made 3. If you hit threes against Milwaukee, they will never come out to defend them. You make the threes, you win. Antetokounmpo was finding out what Kevin Durant found out in the first round. Boston will and can and will guard you with anybody. But again, they hit that outside shot, and it was pretty good last night. Tyler Hero won the NBA Sixth Man of the Year. Joel Embiid could come back for Game 3 against Miami. You would think he would. I don't see why he would not. At this point, he probably should, because if he doesn't, don't think they're going to win much. They are in some kind of, what do they call it? Trouble. We talked about him much earlier in the show. Dusty Baker got his 2000th win against the Seattle Mariners yesterday. He's the first black manager to win 2,000 games and the 12th manager to do it in Major League Baseball history. I'm going to say this about Dusty Baker. Dusty Baker is a big part of the reason why American ball players, Black American ball players, are playing. He's a child of Hank Aaron and Willie Mays. He is a disciple of those guys. As a player, Dusty Baker was no joke. He was a great baseball player. I think for me, he was one of my favorite players when I was a little kid. As a manager, he has proven to be solid as a baseball manager. In fact, him going to Houston when Houston was in free fall and fixing it and getting them to a World Series should have. If I'm not mistaken, he got Manager of the Year for that. If he didn't, he should have. And here's the thing: do you remember Darren Baker, the little boy that JT Snow had to snatch up? Was it JT Snow, Gliss?
It was JT Snow, and I was actually going to bring that up when we talked about it in the at the top of the show, because I remember when I had just moved to Oregon, actually, because I had just graduated high school a couple months before, and then of course they go to the World Series, and I'm like, screw that, they're not going to go to the World Series now that I moved out of state. And so we drove down there to go to this game, and I remember that was like the big thing on the front of all the newspapers was the game prior, with photos of Darren Baker being pulled out of the way by JT Snows all over every newspaper in San Francisco.
It was because that little kid could have got hurt.
Yeah, because he was only like 3 or something.
Yeah, he was a little boy. But it also said something about Dusty Baker still out here, saying his prayers, eating his vitamins like a stark Raven Hulkamaniac at that age. My man, Dusty. What's going on here? Someone's talking. It happened again. I bring it up because Darren Baker hit a sacrifice fly walk-off for the Nationals High A affiliate in Wilmington last night as well. So Dusty got that, and his son got the hit, and it's pretty cool. Darren Baker is going to be a major leaguer, I think. I don't know how good of a major leaguer he's going to be, but I keep forgetting Dusty Baker has a son in his 20s. Dusty Baker is 72 years old. There's hope. There's always hope. You know what skipped past me, Gliss? The Stanley Cup playoffs are happening. The NHL playoffs are in full swing. I totally forgot. Wednesday's games, Boston at the Carolina Hurricanes. You can see that at 7 Eastern on ESPN. The Canes lead 1-0. The Tampa Bay Lightning against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And the Leafs lead that series 1-0, but don't worry, they'll choke because that's what they do. That game is 7:30 on ESPN2, 7:30 Eastern. The Blues, St. Louis plays the Minnesota Wild at 9:30 Eastern time on ESPN. The Blues lead that series 1-0. And the Los Angeles Kings against the Edmonton Oilers. That game is 10 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN2. The Kings lead that series 1-0. In the Atlantic, it's the Panthers against the Capitals. I didn't know that. And let's see I just didn't know that this was happening. And you know why I didn't know? Honestly, because the Blackhawks are terrible, and I completely shut out hockey. I literally forgot about my Kraken, how much I enjoyed listening to them and watching the Canadiens, who I don't think are in the playoffs this year, after going to the Cup last year. The Rangers and the Penguins, that should be a good matchup.
You're Kraken, by the way. You see Marshawn Lynch bought in as a minority owner of the Kraken.
I saw that. I'm telling you, see how the Kraken. Marshawn is the greatest.
Oh, he's great.
He's the absolute greatest. The Avalanche are playing against the Predators. Didn't know any of these things. I'm supposed to be the sports guy. Calgary, the Flames against the Dallas Stars. Come on, Calgary, do something. That would be nice. It's kind of ironic that the Oilers and the Kings are playing each other because Gretzky played for both of those teams 600 years ago. And the Stanley Cup playoffs are happening. Who knew? Blackhawks, by the way, stink. It's so terrible. I watch too much Archie Bunker, and it's all coming back to me now because I just always want to go to everything I don't like. Okay, tomorrow is Cinco de Mayo, and I'm going to make a public service announcement on behalf of my friends from Puerto Rico and my friends who are descendants of Puerto Ricans. Please don't run up on any Puerto Ricans and say Cinco de Mayo or Happy Cinco. They don't, that's not, no, it's not that. And also, it is not spring New Year's Eve. So please stay in your homes. Don't, don't, don't go out there. Oh, by the way, that's the sports
Spring
report.
New Year's Eve.
Yeah, spring New Year's Eve. Stay in
That's
your
good.
homes. Thank you. Thank you very much. The comedy team, in the writer's room back here, where right near the bathroom is where all these jokes come from. Stay in your home. Uh, don't do it. Just leave it alone. It's Cinco de Mayo. Leave it alone. And may the fourth be with you. On this date in 1989, a jury convicts Oliver North of obstructing Congress, altering documents, and illegally accepting a gratuity. In the year 2000, the love bug virus infects computer networks across the globe. I remember that. Sure do. In the year 2003, two American astronauts and one Russian cosmonaut end up, that sounds like a joke. Two American astronauts and one Russian cosmonaut walk into a bar, end up nearly 300 miles off course after returning from the International Space Station. On this day, singer Jackie Jackson of the Jackson 5 turned 71. One of my favorite basketball players ever as well, Basketball Hall of Famer Dawn Staley, turns 52. Mike Dirnt from Green Day is 50 today. Irish golfer Rory McIlroy turns 33. And on this date in music history, Steppenwolf performs Born to Be Wild in 1968 on American Bandstand, which I'm sure freaked Dick Clark out. Google Dick Clark, kids. In 1987, a San Francisco judge throws out a 21-year-old lawsuit filed by a former Jefferson Airplane manager, which kept the group from collecting $2 million in back royalties. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. On this date in 1996, Always Be My Baby by Mariah Carey hits #1 on the U.S. Top 40 chart and stayed there for a whopping 2 weeks. Don't worry, around Christmas time, Gliss, I think we'll still be doing this. We can talk about All I Want for Christmas Is You and how that song is the reason why Mariah Carey never has to make anything ever again.
Oh yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. I mean, it's
every
like
year, it's like a new song every year.
Yeah. Yep. and it's you can't help but hear it everywhere for at least 2 months.
I do a Christmas in July show occasionally on the terrestrial, and I refuse to play that song because I know in November I'm gonna hear it every day. Here in Chicago, there's a station, Light FM, and 93.1 FM, Light FM. And Light FM doesn't have Tim Manley, but if Tim Manley wouldn't work there, he'd work at another station here in town. But Tim Manley, it's coming, Gliss. They start playing Christmas records on Halloween.
Yeah, that's a bit much. I worked the most recent station. Well, one of the most recent stations I worked for when I worked for iHeart was pretty much the same kind of station in Portland. It was basically like a 80s, 90s, and today kind of deal. And the year I was working there, I think we did it November 13th. And I remember thinking like, no, and like, it's not Christmas time yet. Like, it's, to me, Thanksgiving is like when it's cool to be like, all right, it's Christmas time. If you celebrate Christmas, you can, dive in. But
hey, man, preach it to the choir.
Before Thanksgiving, I don't know about that, man. Like, there's still another holiday that has to happen. So how can it be, how can you be doing Christmas already?
Here's the thing. The doing it from like November, it's either Halloween or November 1st. That radio station has the #1 book every time. For the winter, they will be #1 in the city of Chicago.
Same thing for that station I worked for as well. And it was funny because I remember they were always talking about kind of behind the scenes, like the philosophy, because what happens is they get a big rush of new listeners that come in for the Christmas music, but then they also alienate some people because they're like, it's too early for Christmas music. So that is like a thing for those stations that switch to the Christmas format, that they're always trying to figure out when the right time to pull the trigger is, because they know they're going to do really well once people dive into their Christmas music.
It's happening. Tina asked a question, or I'm sorry, not Tina. Andrew McLean says the royalties on that song. I can't imagine those December, January checks she gets. I am desperately and quickly trying to give you that answer, because there's actually an answer to that. When I said it's like a new song every holiday, it truly is. Hold on one second. Christmas. God, I can't spell. Is you. Oh, just typing it out makes me angry. You know how you're Kim Kardashian angry? That's how I feel about this song. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. Forbes magazine says, and this is from 2001, I think. No, from last year. Actually, this is the same report I read on the air last year. It's been 30 years. 30 years since this song has been out. How much is it worth? It's difficult to put an exact dollar value on the song, but the unofficial answer is quite a bit. A study in 2016 by The Economist found that Carrie makes about $2.5 million per year for the song. She had raked in $60 million by 2016 from the song that was first released in 1994. She has probably made an additional $12.5 million since, bringing her to more than $72 million from one song. That includes royalties from streaming services like Apple Music and Spotify, which said last year, 2021, that the song had exceeded 1 billion streams, including a reported 5 million per day. All I Want for Christmas has become a rare diamond certified song, which means it has sold more than 10 million units. As of 2019, there were only 30 songs in history to do that. Incredible. She signed a deal with McDonald's last year. So in essence, she makes more than $2.5 million each holiday season. Jesus. When we come, oh my goodness, there you go. Andrew McLean says, I need to get to work on a one-hit wonder, you know? Yeah, she is the queen of Christmas, Tina. That song's 30-something years old, almost. Oh, Jesus. When we come back, we will have the front of mind story, and then we will really get out of here for the day. It's Drive with Mario Smith here on Backchannel.tv. We'll be right back. A group of scientists at the University of Texas at Austin have created a modified enzyme that can break down plastics that would otherwise take centuries to degrade in a matter of days. The researchers, what did you say about the researchers? The researchers who published their findings in the peer-reviewed journal Nature last week used machine learning to land on mutations to create a fast-acting protein that can break down building blocks of polyethylene. What? The PET. Glyss does this on purpose for this blooper reel. Just want to let everybody know. I know he does it. Polyethylene terephthalate, PET, a synthetic, he's laughing, a synthetic resin used in fibers for clothing and plastic that, per the study, accounts for 12% of global waste. It does so through a process called depolymerization, in which a catalyst separates the building blocks that make up PET into their original monomers, which can then be repolymerized. Why are you doing this to me, Jake List? Built back into virgin plastic and converted into other products.
PET. Just
I keep telling you, I'm like Ron Burgundy. If I see it, I'm going to read it. I can't help it. Most impressively, the enzymes broke down the plastic in 1 week. One thing we can do, I don't want to sound like an egghead when I read this in this man's voice, because I'm not going to do that. One thing we can do is we can break this down into its initial monomer. Hal Alper. Oh, Tim Manley and Hal Alper? Come on. Professor in chemical engineering and author on the paper told Motherboard over the phone. And that's what the enzyme does. It then, once you have your original monomer, it is if you are making fresh plastic from scratch, with the benefit that you don't need to use additional petroleum resources. This has advantages over traditional belt recycling, Alper added. If you were to melt the plastic and then remold it, you'd start to lose the integrity of the plastic each round that you go through with recycling. Versus here, if you're able to depolymerize and then chemically repolymerize, you can be making virgin PET plastic each and every time. Their work adds to an existing line of query on plastic-eating enzymes, which were first recorded in 2005 and have since been followed by the discovery of 19 distinct enzymes, the paper notes. These are derived from naturally occurring bacteria that have been located living on plastic in the environment. But many of these naturally occurring enzymes are made up of permutations of proteins that form protein. It's too many big egghead words here, Glyss. I gotta get out of here. I mean, I don't, but just know that young people are brilliant, and they are making sure that when we're old, we can live a healthy, happy life.
I was gonna say, so yeah, they did something with plastic that's better for the environment.
Yeah, and it's great.
And it's good. And we should be happy about it.
Chef's Biscuits. That was awesome. It's time for my favorite segment. You know what? You're funny though, because you read it and was like, yeah, Mario's not gonna get any of these words.
Yeah, not necessarily. I don't really think about it that way. You get through stuff all the time. So I mean, some of those medical words are those are kind of questionable.
I think if I ever get hired to read news for a real, like a news organization, I can do it. It's just sitting and staring at the camera. That's hard.
For sure. Yeah.
I need to put a face there, like a see-through face. I'll put a face on top of my camera so I can, but then I'd be looking up instead of looking there. Did you know, my favorite segment, did you know 25% of adults request something for their pet at drive-through windows? Water.
Yeah,
I see that. Did you know, Glyss, pretzels are made all over the U.S., but mostly in Pennsylvania? I knew that. No, I didn't. Did you know a recent study? I didn't. Did you?
No, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. Did you know a recent study says that millennials are getting divorced 18% less than the previous generation? Did you know hormonal is the top thing women dislike being called? Ooh, there's a couple of things women don't like being called.
Yeah, that's definitely on the list of no.
Oh, it's super on the list. It's not some of the other things. Don't go out there and do it, kids. I'm telling you. Did you know the average American child eats 62 pounds of pasta each year? I think they eat more than that.
More than that.
Way more than that. Hey, look, way more.
My 15-year-old eats pasta, and I'm not even exaggerating. Rice or pasta, like he makes those for snacks, like after we've already had dinner. So I mean, like,
wow, that's a kid that's gonna end up playing football, though, Glyss. You're gonna be in the box sitting there. No. Did you know? According to experts, adults are 50% more sloppy when it comes to handwriting as compared to kids. Did you know 53% of men and 27% of women say sitting next to someone who's good looking makes flying on an airplane more interesting? Yes. I think that's true. I think, well, yeah, there's a million. Again, this isn't that kind of show. Did you know in recent times, the amount of people that use tobacco products decreases every year? Yes. Did you know before the pandemic, Americans used 3 times as much toilet paper as people in any other country? Did you know, according to Reader's Digest, about 1/3 of us have a problem with food touching other food on their plate while eating dinner? Can I go back to that other one?
I was gonna say, just gonna like slide past that. Like,
I'm
like,
trying to
why?
get in.
Wait a minute.
Don't want
Like,
to get in trouble.
I don't really want to ask the hard questions about that, but at the same time, it's hard to get it out of your head. You know?
Yeah. You know what we'll do? We're gonna table this and save it and actually be able to really go into why Americans are full of reasons for using 3 times as much toilet paper as anybody else. A rattlesnake handler with more than 20 years of experience was showing off his skills at a festival in Texas over the weekend when he suffered a fatal bite. Eugene De Leon Sr. was bitten on the shoulder around 1 p.m. Saturday as he handled a western diamondback rattlesnake. Oh my God, I'm laughing. I'm sorry. In front of a crowd at the Freer Rattlesnake Roundup, the city's largest festival. He was flown by helicopter to a hospital in Corpus Christi, but died approximately 8 hours later.
Well, don't mess with rattlesnakes, though.
He was a rattlesnake handler. He died handling a rattlesnake.
That's why I'm not going to do that job.
That's right. No, this is enough of a wrangle. I don't want to be wrangling rattlesnakes. The ground beneath Louisianan boots trembled just east of Mississippi River in Baton Rouge, nestled in the Louisiana State University campus. Country star Garth Brooks performed a local fan favorite song at a jam-packed Tiger Stadium. The crowd's furor was so strong it registered as a small earthquake, according to university seismograph. The packed stadium, seating 102,000 people, sang "Calling Baton Rouge" word for word with Brooks. Playing the song is a tradition at LSU football and basketball games, and many bars near the campus play it as the night is winding down. And that's it for this show for today. Mr. Bliss, we did it. Thank you, man. I'll see you on Thursday.
Yep. No, Friday.
Whoa, yeah. That's right.
Now I'm confused. I'm like, what? Come to think of it, what day is it today? Let's get started.
I don't know. We can go there with that. What day is it today? I have absolutely no idea. I am totally lost on all of it.
I think what you meant to say was, I won't see you on Thursday.
That's what I meant to say. Yeah, I'll see you on Friday.
Yeah. Have a good night.
Right on, man. You too. Thanks to everybody that's been a passenger on the drive today. Ms. Rudnick, thank you so much. Tina, Andrew, Michael Lockett, our folks here on the stream, Third Quagga, Stacy, Ashley, Regal Zebra, and everybody. Thank you so much for being on the drive with us today. If you enjoyed the drive today, there are 2 ways to support the show that really help. If you're watching right now and you see that subscribe button down on the left side of your screen, click on it, subscribe, and let you know when we're on the air. And as I mentioned a few times, we got some special things coming up that we really want you to be a part of. The other way that you can do it is no matter whether you're listening or watching, is to leave a review. Go to backchannel.tv, leave a review of the show. Once again, backchannel.tv, BACKCHANNEL.TV, and leave a review. Programming note, we will not be here tomorrow, but we will be back on Friday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern. This is the last program for Backchannel.tv today. Join us again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for Haley and Allison's Good Morning. On behalf of everybody at Backchannel.tv, have a great night, everybody. We will see you on Friday, and join us again tomorrow for this big thing we do. Have a great night. Peace.